All right, let's get into it. You probably think you know the story of Joseph, right? The coat, the dreams, the whole betrayal thing. It's one of the most famous family dramas ever. But today, we're going to look at it through the eyes of someone else, the legendary medieval commentator, Rashi. And trust me, he saw something completely different. He saw this secret history, a kind of cosmic destiny hiding just under the surface of a simple sibling rivalry. So, the story kicks off with this one line. After decades, and I mean decades, of running, wrestling with angels, and dealing with some seriously tricky family politics, Jacob is finally home. He's settled. You can almost feel that sigh of relief, can't you? The wandering is done, the drama should be over, but as we're about to see, it's really just getting started. And that's the big riddle, isn't it? Why now? After all that chaos, why is this one moment of peace the thing that triggers the most explosive family feud in the entire Bible? This is the question that unlocks everything. And Rashi's answer? Well, it changes how you read the entire story.
To really get what's going on, we have to zoom out for a second. Rashi, who was just brilliant at this, he noticed a huge clue in the Bible's pacing, right before our story even begins. It's all about what the text decides to focus on, and maybe even more important, what it decides to just speed right past.
Just look at the contrast the text sets up here. The chapter right before this story, it gives us this super quick, rapid-fire summary of Jacob's brother Esau. His wives, his kids, all these powerful dukes. It's like boom, 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 and we're done. But the second the story shifts to Jacob, the narrative just slams on the brakes. All of a sudden, we're diving into this long, super detailed, dramatic saga. And Rashi's big question is, why? What's the deal with that? And Rashi's answer comes in the form of these two incredible metaphors that explain why Jacob's family gets this massive spotlight. It's not just about them, you see. It's about the destiny of the entire world. So his first metaphor is the pearl in the sand. Picture this, you're sifting through generations and generations of history. All the names and stories from Adam to Noah to Abraham, like you're sifting through handfuls of sand. Rashi says all of that was just a search for one priceless jewel. And Jacob and his kids, they're that jewel. Now that the pearl has been found, you don't just glance at it and move on. No way. You stop, you hold it up to the light, and you check out every single facet. The second metaphor is even more intense, the spark in the flax. Jacob looks at that long list of Esau's powerful descendants, all those dukes and chiefs, and he gets nervous. I mean, who could possibly stand up against all that power? Rashi gives us the answer, a tiny spark that's destined to become a flame. And that spark is Joseph. So this family story isn't just drama. It's the origin story for the one force that will eventually consume its rival. The stakes are huge. Okay, so with those massive cosmic stakes in mind, let's zoom right back in and see how this grand destiny actually plays out on the ground, in the messy, petty, personal details of a family that's about to fall apart. Now, a lot of times the story paints Joseph as this totally innocent victim, but Rashi's commentary adds some really fascinating and, let's be honest, very human layers. He describes Joseph as a teenager who was, well, a bit extra. You know the type. He was meticulously styling his hair, maybe touching up his eyes to look good. He was also a tattletale, running to his dad with every bad report he could find on his brothers. And he deliberately hung out with the sons of the handmaids, which just made the cliques and the divisions in the family even worse. And this right here brilliantly illustrates one of Rashi's core ideas, measure for measure justice. Joseph's suffering wasn't just random bad luck. It was a direct, almost poetic reflection of his own bad reports. Think about it. He accuses his brothers of eating flesh from a live animal. A goat is slaughtered, but pointedly not eaten live to fake his own death. He calls them slaves. He gets sold as a slave. He accuses them of immorality. He then faces this huge test of his own morality with his master's wife. The punishment fits the crime with this terrifying, unbelievable precision. Of course, Joseph isn't the only one stirring the pot here. His father, Jacob, basically pours gasoline on the fire with his favoritism. And this coat, it wasn't just a nice gift. The ornamented tunic was a symbol. It was a public declaration that Joseph was better than the rest. For the brothers, that coat was the absolute last straw. It took their simmering dislike and turned it into pure, unfiltered hatred. But here is where Rashi just blows your mind. The text says the brothers could not speak a friendly word to him, And Rashi finds a silver lining in that. He says, hey, look, at least they were brutally honest. They weren't faking it, pretending to be nice to his face and then stabbing him in the back. Their hatred was right out in the open. They weren't two-faced about it. It's a really challenging idea, but it just shows how Rashi is committed to finding the nuance in every single character. So, if the coat lit the fuse, Joseph's dreams were the explosion. This is the moment he goes from being the annoying little brother to being a genuine existential threat. So first, he tells them about this dream he had. It's a pretty simple picture, right? They're all out in the field, working together, binding sheaves of grain. But then, all of a sudden, Joseph's sheaf magically stands straight up, and all of their sheaves gather around and bow down to his. Yeah, the symbolism isn't exactly subtle here. And oh boy, do the brothers get it instantly. They know this has nothing to do with farming. It's about power. Do you actually mean to reign over us? They sneer. They see the dream for exactly what it is, a prophecy that Joseph is going to rule them. And, as the text says, they hated him even more for it. You'd think after that reaction he'd maybe keep the next dream to himself, right? Nope. He has another one, and this one is even more over the top. Now, it's not just about sheaves of grain on Earth. It's about the entire cosmos, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars, representing his father, his mother, and all 11 of his brothers are all bowing down to him. It's like he's saying, I'm not just going to rule you, I'm going to be the center of your entire universe. Now, the brothers' reaction is predictable. Just more rage, more jealousy. But their father, Jacob's, reaction is way more complicated, and Rashi's breakdown of it is just absolute genius. Okay, so this is where Jacob plays a brilliant double game. Publicly, he scolds Joseph. He says, what's this dream? Are me and your mother and your brothers all going to bow to you? He even points out that Joseph's mother is dead. Rashi explains he's doing this to calm the other sons down, to pour some cold water on their blazing jealousy. But privately, the text says he kept the matter in mind. Jacob knew. Rashi says he totally understood the dream as a prophecy, and he was secretly waiting, just anticipating the day it would all come true. And this brings us all the way back to our very first question. Why did all this chaos erupt the moment Jacob tried to settle down? Rashi gives us this deep, theological answer. He says that when truly righteous people try to get too comfortable, to just live a life of ease in this world, God often shakes things up a bit. And why? Because their real, ultimate reward isn't meant for this world. It's saved for the world to come. Jacob wanted peace and quiet, but his destiny, and the destiny of his entire people, required this turmoil to be fulfilled. So in the end, Rashi's whole commentary just forces us to ask this huge question. When we look at all the jealousy, the favoritism, the backstabbing, the betrayal, are we just looking at a really, really dysfunctional family falling apart? Or are we actually watching the painful, messy, but necessary and divinely guided construction of a nation's future? Thanks to Rashi, we can see it somehow profoundly and mysteriously, both at the exact same time.